Hello, hello, viewers of Ruth Sifa Ministries. We are here again this evening, and I'm having a one-on-one with one of our talk show panelists called Mr. Bernard Wanjala. And I'm so excited to have him in the show tonight. We just want to know him at a personal level. Sometimes when we are on the show, when we are on the youth talk show that always happen on Saturday at 8 p.m., we most of the time we normally don't get time to just ask personal questions to our panelists. That's why we have just set aside some time just to talk and for you to know these panelists on a very, very personal level. And I know his personal life, his personal testimony will change your life. So please, if you are joining us right now, just make sure that you don't scroll down, you don't go anywhere. Just stay put as you listen to this personal journey of Mr. Bernard Wanjala in his life and also in his career. And also, he's a passionate sportsman. And today I want us to understand, where did this passion come from? And he told me he personally want to talk about purpose. I don't know what he has in store for us concerning purpose. And I know we are going to ask him. Please, if you have any question concerning Mr. Benard, maybe you know him from wherever, personally or in his career or in his passion, just come in and ask a question and also listen to him. And if you have any questions concerning him, don't forget to put it in our comment box below. And this one does not just apply to those who are watching live. If you will come across this broadcast, maybe even after or a replay, just make sure if you have a question to Mr. Bernard, ask him and put it in the comment box on the broadcast, and we will come back and answer those questions. He will come back and answer those questions. So I'm so excited to have him on the show. And my name is Ruth Sifa. Ruth Sifa is a transformational gospel singer, a minister, and a pastor's wife, and a mother, a worship leader and worship trainer, and a passionate youth minister and child minister. So that's why we have this show. Mr. Bernard, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm glad to be on this show today. I'm sure we have been talking a lot. It's good also an opportunity for viewers to appreciate who is Bernard.
Yes, so that is what we want to know more about you, and I hope you are willing to share with us who Bernard is.
Yeah, sure.
Like me myself, I want to know you like I'm meeting you for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we can just start off by first of all introducing who is Bernard.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. As you have said, my name is Bernard Wanjala. As you know, the only thing you can always be sure of inheriting from your father when he is still alive is the name. So Wanjala is not my name. It's a name that I inherit from my father. My real name is Bernard Waswa. And for those who don't know, Waswa means termites, kumbe in Kiswahili. So that's the time I was born, there was plenty of them. I just crossed the youth. I'm a father and a husband. I'm married to one Noreen, and we are blessed with 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. As you have said, I'm a passionate sportsman. And it's a long journey. Maybe we'll talk about it. To be specific, I'm a chess player. I know many people, when we talk about chess, they say, wow, this is a sport for this kind of people. But we will also talk about it. I'm a sportsman and passionate player of chess. I also play a role in administration. I'm currently the president of the Chess Kenya Federation and vice president Africa Chess Federation. And also I'm a counselor at the World Body on Social Commission. Yeah. By profession, I'm a trained teacher, mathematics, physics. But I decided to pursue something else. By profession, I became a banker. This is the 10th year. Yeah. My 10th year in the banking industry. And I'm still counting. If God will give me more years, I'm looking forward to still continue with that journey. Yeah. I don't know whether that's enough. Thank you.
I'm just wondering how a teacher found themselves in a bank.
Yeah.
Does it mean and watu tumesomea banking hatuko bank? That's so interesting.
There is usually a confusion. When going school, it's not a strength as per se. It's only a basics that, in fact, if you are very keen in any graduation, they will tell you, we have given you power to read. They don't tell you if you have done a course in agriculture, go and dig. They tell you, we have given you power to read. And getting papers is good, it's very necessary, but it's not a strength. It's usually important you identify your strength and maximize on it. And whether you are having which degree, you can thrive in any environment because basically education makes you a better thinker and a better decision maker. But what makes people work or deliver is the strength that they are, which are mostly inborn. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Can you describe yourself in 3 words? You have talked, you have given a story, but I just want 3 words that describes you.
According to myself, I'm a very passionate person in empowering and touching life whenever I have an opportunity. That's me. And I'll maybe along the show, I'll demonstrate what I mean by being a passionate person in empowering life, touching life whenever I have an opportunity.
Wow.
Basically, yeah, basically that is the theme in all the things I do, whether in my career or at personal life. I'm really passionate on what can you do to add a value to someone else whenever I have an opportunity. Yes.
Okay, wow. What are your strengths?
Many people tell me I'm very polite, but my biggest strength, first of all, is I have nurtured my leadership skills. All areas I have been given an opportunity to lead a task or to lead a group, I have successfully executed, and I believe I make a leader, maybe not the best, but at least when we talk about leaders, I'm among the people someone can say I can be able to deliver.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Secondly, another strength that I have identified from personal level is I'm a person who care about others more than myself. I have seen in very many cases where I sacrifice a lot of things that I would have benefited or directly benefited me for the sake of the others. Even at family level, so many things I see myself go out of my way, but I forget myself. In many cases, I end up forgetting myself. That one is I'm a person who like getting the best thing out of the situation, and sometimes it pushes me to do a lot of things that in many cases it will look like impossible, but because of the mindset, I end up achieving. So to me, those are the three critical strengths that have really made me to be where I am today.
Awesome. So today I'm just asking questions, you answer, then I'll give you some time to talk about purpose. Okay. What will your wife say is your weakness?
My biggest weakness, and not just my wife, many guys who have dealt with me, is, and I'm trying to work again out of it, is I have a very big ego. You touch my ego, you are gone. And it has costed me a lot of things. Sometimes even if something I have noted that you don't recognize, or you abuse me in a way that I feel you have belittled me. Sometimes it has costed me because I end up making a decision. But the worst thing is it takes a lot of time for me to overcome a person we have crossed the road. And it is something that I noticed, and I have not managed to overcome, but I ask for grace of God so that in future I deal with it, because in many ways I have really paid a huge price for it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And the best thing is that you know it, so it is easier for you to work on it. Okay. What will you not travel without?
Number one is a phone.
Why?
Because many of my friends and most of the discussions that I engage in are friends that are all within Kenya and outside Kenya. And because of the many hats that I wear, I have always to be reachable. Whether I'm outside Kenya or I'm within Kenya, I have to ensure that I'm reachable all the times, because some of the things that I coordinate are very critical. In any case you fail to be reached, a lot of damage can be done, especially at workplace. Even at midnight, you can still reach me, because basically there are some countries where you are at, it's during the day, while in Kenya it's at night. So I always ensure that I'm available. So every time you can always guess I have a phone with me.
Wow. That is awesome. Another thing that you can't travel without.
Um, I don't know. I think that is the only thing I always find difficult to travel. But the other things I can.
Okay.
I can always travel without.
Okay, you said you travel a lot. What was the most interesting thing that has ever happened to you in a foreign country, both good or bad?
Uh, well, there are always good things when you travel out. First of all, the best thing that I have ever enjoyed was traveling to Russia. And during my trip, for the first time, I got a VIP seat, and where you just watch the football players next to you, you know, that kind of experience. And it was a quarter final between Croatia and Russia. And it was a time also I interacted with quite a number of heads of states, courtesy of the invitation from the former Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, uh, uh, Mr. Fokovich Akkad. And during that time, I think I had one of the biggest privilege also to go for a trip on a yacht. You know, I used to just hear about it and see them in movies. It was just an experience of a lifetime where we went there. Though I'm not a fan of the seafood, but I was able to see a variety of seafood that are always memorable to me. I think the second
Yeah.
travel was in Azerbaijan, where I was able also to spend in a 7-star hotel. These things we just hear, but some of the
They
things
are real.
some other countries are doing are extremely advanced. And that is where now when you come back to your country, you feel like, okay, some things we talk about are not possible in Kenya, but maybe in future we will be there. Yeah, but it has been one of the best memories, I think, for the two
And
countries stand out.
and what was the bad experience or the bad thing that
Worst
not
experience,
really bad, but just something that surprised you or you are not expecting it?
the worst experience I went through was when I was in Morocco. Um, I missed a flight. You know, the worst thing to actually go through is missing a flight in a foreign country, because you can't resolve it until your agent. You have to come back to talk to someone back home and help you. And one surprising thing is that I had all the time. I went to the embassy. I had very good time with Ambassador Abher. And when I left there, we again went with my friend to have lunch, only to remember that I have only 2 hours to the airport. Now, I would have actually made it to the flight, but uh, there was too much traffic. So you could imagine you are sitting in a traffic jam, nothing is moving, and the time is moving. You are completely stuck. So reaching the airport, nothing could be done. I could see the plane taking off, and it took again another 3 days to resolve the issue and travel back home. And
What?
that has
You stayed in that country for another 3 days?
yes. I had to stay there so that I get another flight, because most of the flights were full. The next day I couldn't get a flight, And to get things sorted, it became a little bit more expensive just for missing. And that was my third flight to miss. And this has helped me because now going forward, I have to be at the airport 2 hours, at least 3 hours to the flight, always. And I hope I'll never miss another flight again because it's one of the worst.
Well, I'm imagining you're in a foreign country and now you have to spend some more more money.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Who is the most famous person you have ever met or you have met?
I've met quite a number of interesting persons. I met the president of Kalmykia. He's called Krisan Jovovich. He was a former president of Kalmykia, and later on the president of World Chess Federation. I have also met the deputy prime minister, former deputy prime minister of Russia. I was also able to meet the lady president from Croatia and Macron because we were on the same platform. Yeah, and it was a nice experience to meet them and at least see them live because we only see them in TV. Maybe they are in world TV stations sharing something or something of sort. So those are the memorable people I think outside the country I've been able to meet. Within the country, I think I have met quite a number. There was a time we had met the President of Kenya, Honorable His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. We have also interacted quite a lot with Professor Anyang' Nyong of Kisumu County. And quite a number. Mike Sonko, we have interacted. And of course, my biggest mentor, James Mwangi. He's a great person also I admire. And I'm proud having also met him. Yeah, thank you.
Who is James Mwangi? Who is James Mwangi?
Yeah, the CEO of Equity Bank. I think he is among the people who have really transformed the lives of Kenyans. And he's in the mind of any person who has been in Kenya quite for some time because he is synonymous of a transformation. And that is also what I aspire to do and what I always strive to do.
Okay. What is one thing that you observed or you learned from all these people that you have met who are famous?
Number one,
just through observation.
Number one, they are very disciplined in everything. If you say you have a meeting at 10, they will be there 20 minutes or 30 minutes before that. Number two, they read widely. They are very knowledgeable in quite a variety of the fields. And you will find them, there is a habit where they wake up very early in the morning. You will find them talking about what is in the newspaper by 6. So that tells you they have already access to the newspaper by 5 or 4. And they are always driven by a vision of what they want to achieve, and they focus on it. If you look at what they have been able to achieve in their life, you will see a very deliberate pattern that was set from early their life to where they are, and still they remain focused on the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is awesome. So let's talk about your fears. What are you afraid of?
Well, there are several things I fear, and one of the biggest fear I know always have is being a good father to my kids. Having gone through a very challenging life, I have always prayed that God gives me wisdom to bring out a family that I'll be proud of and will also have a purpose or at least fulfill something for their time they will have on this world. Um, when you have kids, sometimes you don't know where they will end up, who they will be, whether you will make a good father. And that's why I try my best to do the best I could to give them the best that I can get. And of course, that now is accompanied by what you do, whether you'll be able to sustain and ensure that this family has everything that you have. In the era of employment, there is always uncertainty that you can lose a job and fail to give your children the best that you can. But I'm always optimistic to try and always put some mechanism that at least cushion me on that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay,
Yes.
who will you like to to meet, dead or alive?
Uh, yeah.
I know you have met
Um,
so many people, but there is that one person you are yet to meet.
I admire Barack Obama. Barack
Wow,
Obama is,
seriously?
yes. Barack
Why?
Obama, you could recall there was a photo showing him very humble when he was in Kenya. Um, he beat all the odds from very challenging environment and became the president of US in a country that is synonymous with racism, a country that have always been against the blacks, and he was able to rise all those challenges to be where he is. I like his charisma. He gives a great speech. He inspires people. He inspires the youth, and he is always seen as a sign of hope. And one thing that I have also liked when, since he joined leadership or politics, he have always maintained a clean slate of his CV. You can never hear the dirty things that most of the politicians will hear with scandals and so on. So those are the people that, to me, are a role model globally on how a leader should be. Yeah, and I look up to him. That maybe one day I'll be like him.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
so true. Yeah. So let's go to your purpose. How did you discover your talent or passion? Because I can see your passion taking you far. As the Bible say, your gift will make room for you. How did you discover your passion?
Um,
And please, maybe just a minute, and also maybe you tell us what is your passion before you tell us how you discovered it.
yeah, I would like to make a quote which says, you know, the best day for you is the day you are born, and the day you will discover why you are born, that's when you start living. And initially, I used just to exist. You wake up in the morning, you take lunch. If you are supposed to go to school, you go. And I had to sit down and ask, why was I born? What was I, what role, what one thing that was I meant to accomplish in this particular world? And on a serious note, I couldn't get the answer. So I failed to tell exactly what I'm supposed to do. Because this is not, a class where someone will give you an answer, or you can refer in a dictionary to know what you are supposed to do. So in that case, I failed. I failed completely, and that was around the age of around 18. And so on, I moved on. Later on now, when I was in campus, that's when I came to realize all these things that we are talking about is all about your mindset, what you decide yourself and focus on it to achieve. And I met 3 important steps. First of all, to look at what I like to do. What one thing that I really like to do, and it gives me joy when I accomplish. One of the things that I was so passionate during those days was playing chess. I used to play draft first. My father is a very good draft player, and yes, and I was beating guys, so I wanted a more challenging and complex sport. So when I learned about chess, I said, "Wow, this is now what I want to play," and I did very well. So one of the things I realized is whether I'm winning or not, I enjoy playing the sport. So it is something I must find how to nurture it and be part of me. During that time, I think campus there were no activity. The sport had been banned, and I took an initiative to restart it again. It didn't take long. I realized I'm also not a very good. I'm not a very good player because I could be beaten by so many players. There were those who were very experienced in it, and I was a fresher in campus. And basically, I couldn't win because they were so good. But I didn't give up. I said, whichever direction. I went and sat down. As a player, which part can I maximize that I'm good? I realized from the family background and what I have been doing at high school, I excelled very well in being a student leader. As a head boy, I started from Form 1 to Form 4. So I said, wow, if I'm not a good player, why don't I just be a leader? Just be a front line, because I can't win. I can't be a champion. And given that I have a very strong leadership background, I can also utilize it to grow my leadership skills. And that's when now I started also administration. I became the captain and mobilized people. I focused on leadership, but not to play. So as much as I was playing, but my focus was being a leader, leading the group to ensure that at least the administration is able to facilitate, players are able to train, the facilities are there. And that is how, yes.
Yeah, you are challenging me. That point where you have said, if you find yourself you are not a good player as others, you decided to take now the leadership part. So it means there is always something you can do to change
Yeah,
to
sure.
change a situation. You don't need,
Yeah.
there is a point you said during our talk show, you said working on your strength.
Yes, yes.
As much as you're working on your weakness, but
Yes,
work on your strength more. Yeah, I can get that.
yes,
Wow,
yes.
that is
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I focused on that, and surprisingly, all those little things I was doing, um, it introduced me to very many people in the campus, and they said, "Wow, if you are, we can see you are doing very well. You have revived chess. Why don't you even fight to become a student leader?" And that's exactly what I did. In my second year, I tried to be the rep of our hostel. It's called Kilimamboko. I failed, of course, being my first attempt. But now in September, when another election came, I won, and I became a student leader, and it opened so many doors because now I could interact with the university management, dean of students, even the vice chancellor. And that also gave me an opportunity to learn how do these people coordinate, what makes them good leaders, what stands out, and what should you do to be a good leader, to fit in that particular kata. Yeah, and I can't regret having served in that capacity because it made me even a much better person to date. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Now, you have been playing for a while, and you are, let's say you are so much so that, how did you turn it? How do I turn my passion into career? And how do I earn money from my talent? Because you are playing it as a passion. Now, how do you earn money?
Yes, that is very important because, again, having a passion and doing something you like that you cannot be paid for, it can't be sustainable. When you talk about a passion, is first of all, as you have said, you have to identify what you like, yeah, what you enjoy, and what you can be paid for. That means you can be able to generate income from it. Um, When I first of all started this journey of in sports, I have just mentioned it was volunteerism and learning how you can be able to. Life in college, it was very challenging. My background wasn't so strong to support me financially. So what drove me is how can I be now a leader and still get something out of it? So being a student leader in itself gave me an opportunity to be paid a small stipend, a salary that could sustain me. And of course, it was accompanied by other benefits like free housing, free meals, and so on. So you can see still at college level, I was able to reap the benefit uh, of, 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 uh, of using that particular aspect of the sport. When I left college, and this one was the turning point for me, um, I had to do a very, very detailed assessment of my strength, um, and I had to draw down a plan. One of the things that many people fail is failure to come up with a plan of what you want to achieve. And perhaps I'll hint to you what was my three things that I decided to do during that time. Number one, um, I made a decision of what to do with after I have completed studies. Since I had interacted so much with the professors, doctors, I said, wow, these guys are so young, and it means it's very good to go back and and improve your skills while you are young so that you can reap the maximum benefit. So I decided that by around 36, I should be having a PhD. And that means by then I was 26. I was 26. So by 32, I was to have a master's. So the plan was very clear. But you see, you are talking about something that you can finance. I couldn't be limited by the challenges. I was focusing on what I want, but not starting with the challenge side. I knew I don't have money. I didn't have a job, but I have to have a PhD. It didn't matter how I will achieve it, but that is one of the resolution I had. I also had friends who are married, and I'm also a passionate person. I said, okay, I have to also get married at some point and have children. And with a very specific number, by the way, specific number of children. And that one is having been also in education, I wanted a job that will help me utilize my strength of leadership and the sport. I loved chess. So I wanted to go in an environment where I'll maximize the skills that I have, my strong points. And that is why I said, no, I can't go to teach. I have to change the career and look for somewhere where I can be able to practice my skills. So having those three items, I eliminated teaching as one of my options. Remember when I finished also, I was temporarily working with the TI, Transparency International. And having seen the culture, yes, they had given me a temporary work, but I chose not to pursue it. And during those days, we were having chess leagues. And during the chess leagues, I saw 3 banks participating in a chess tournament. And I said, wow. So if you go to a bank, you are likely to succeed. You are likely to continue playing chess while you are working. I really admire those guys. So I decided my place of work should be in a banking industry. And I went to the dean of students by then, and he said, no, as you wait, we'll give you a job here as a coach. So I started off, my first job was at KU where I had left as a part-time coach. And I was being paid quite a good salary. And during those days, that's when I met one of the employee of Equity. And we had a very good chat. He had to come to give us a talk. I gave him the CV, and the rest is history. The network is important. Networking is important. People are very, very important.
I'm just asking myself, who made you go for teaching in the first place? Why did you go for another course, and yet you are doing another thing? Who did you go to teaching because it was somebody told you to go to do that, or what really happened for you to choose teaching in the first place?
Well, my almost all my life I have spent it in the village, and in the village, the most role models that we have are teachers, and we had a very cruel teacher in the neighborhood. During the NMAD, he could buy meat and put in a transparent paper, In a village, there is a lot of scarcity, so you understand when people are eating meat, most of them, you say, wow, if you are a teacher, you'll enjoy life. By those days also there were no electricity. I am sure you in most villages electricity had not taken root. So many people used to rely on paraffin. So teachers could go and buy a whole 20 liters or 5-liter paraffin. And in our place, we were used to buying small quantities, So basically, we grew knowing when you want to lead a good life, you have to be a teacher. And of course, I interacted with quite a number of them. So when you are feeling, I could feature Ekaton, position 2 teacher, Kenya UN, position 4 teacher, KU. That is all. I didn't know anything else I could feel because those were our role models. But now when you go out, you realize those are just papers. It is you to plan your life and decide what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you said there is one teacher is the one who introduced you to chess.
Yes. One of the teachers, when I had just finished the high school, I was among the first students to finish high school and be given a chance in one of the best schools in my locality. For those who may know, it's called Kakamo. I was the first Form 4 leaver to teach there as a UT. And initially I had gone there as a volunteer, but later on the head of the school decided to give me a salary of 2,000. You can imagine those days. In 30 days, you are paid 2,000. And the biggest gift that I got from that place was knowing how to play chess, because that's where I learned how to play chess. So sometimes it's not that money that I got there. What I got there is the skill that transformed my life, and it has remained to be a strength in my life. Yeah.
Awesome. And then also there is out of your conversation, you said you went back to KU to be a part-time coach. So, and according to you, playing playing chess, you are not like a champion in
Yes, I
playing.
was.
There are some people, there were people who are better than you. So, what made you to go back to teach something that you are not the best? Most of us, we always say, you have to be the best in something for you to be a good teacher or a good coach. Just talk about that.
In career development, there is what we call social capital. Social capital in this case is the value of your network. Your net worth is the average of the 10 people you interact with daily. If I want to know your value, I'll just count how many friends of you interact with daily, and who are they, what do they do, and I'll be able to tell exactly what you are. If I was appointed today a minister of any ministry in Kenya, I will deliver. But the president don't know me. Even people close to the president don't know even that Wanjala exists, because I'm not in their social circle. So usually when it comes to opportunities, it is basically what your network know about you, your strength, what you can do. When I left KU, they were going for East Africa Games, and they were preparing students, and they needed each sport to be specifically prepared in a certain, so that they can be able to win the championship. And because I had really made good contact with the university management and even the sports administrators, they couldn't see anyone else other than Wanjala as the best. For them, they knew I'm the best, but inside me, I know I'm not the best. Even the players I was coaching, they were better than me. But from the network, they knew I'm the best. That is how branding can work miracles. The way you brand yourself, it matters a lot, and how you utilize that social network. Yeah. You can unmute, Ruth. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Does everybody have a talent, and what are the ways of finding my passion?
Yes. You know, a talent is just a natural existence of a strength. But a talent itself, it cannot go, it cannot take you anywhere unless you work hard and make use of it, so that you convert it to a more strength, a more perfect strength. If you look at, for example, the athletes, by mere fact that you can run very good, it doesn't make you a winner. Until you wake up day and night, work on it, improve it, perfect it, that is when you can be able to reap the benefit of a talent. And as I have said, you can always notice something you like to do, something you enjoy to do, something that you think about. And I always tell people, if you want to notice your passion, think about something you would want to do, assuming there is no obstacle. Assume that you can't do, there is nothing that can stand before you. What thing that can you do and you would like to do if you are given that opportunity? If, for example, you say, for example, you want to sleep the whole day, that is your talent. You have to ask yourself, yes. You have to assume that. You have to assume that food will be brought to. You will not lack any food. You will not have anything to bother you. Everything will be provided for you. If that is what you can be able to deliver, then it is. But it must be something anyway you can be paid for. Of course, we have places where people are paid to sleep. In a practical aspect. So it is not a weakness, but identifying that thing that you like doing and you can be paid for it. You can convert it to a monetary value. It's very, very critical for someone to work out. But most of the talents, sometimes they die a natural death because it has not been worked on. You get someone is very good in singing, enjoyed singing, but he have pursued in another area that inhibits singing. If, for example, you are a good singer and you are employed in, let's say, in a supermarket where you live, you work from 8 to 9, you don't have time to work on that particular aspect. It means the combination itself is not right. That's why I have mentioned about my combination, which maximized what I was able to do and what I was good at. So it's something, and it's not easy to identify. You have really to try here and there so that you are able to ensure that you have you have tried quite a number of things and you are able to narrow down to one thing that you are good at.
Yeah, that is so true, because most of the time, most of us, we don't know the combination you are talking about, even when it comes to what we want to do. Because you'll find, you have the talent, but your career or something that you are doing is really killing your talent. It is really giving your talent a natural death, the way you have talked about. And that is where most youths are. Most youths, even you can just see that talent in them. But because of money, because of maybe they feel, sometimes the way you have said, maybe prestige. Prestige, like if you are working in a very okay theater working, you studied, like let's say you did a course that you feel it You know, the way we feel some courses are better than others. So
Yes.
you find that some maybe your course, it is true. The way you have said, your course might not give you the allowance to do what you are so passionate at. So we find most of us, we are stuck in a place where we are not fulfilled. You know, when you're working in something where you're working in a place where you don't get the satisfaction, it is just not about money, but it is about the satisfaction you are getting from the fulfillment. So you find
Yes.
most of us, we reach at 60, 60 after retiring. That's the time we notice, we realize how unfulfilled we are. You know, taking our job as a burden, because you feel this job is not giving you what space to do maybe what you want to do. It is okay to multitask and do other things, but that
Yes.
is where I just want you especially to dwell there for a little while and advise the youths, because me, I've dwelled with the youths for a long time, and the career, when it comes to career, they get confused, and at the end of the day, it costs them. They lose it at all, because maybe somebody, yes, they are passionate in a particular thing and they trained a particular another thing, and just that coming together and agreeing that, okay, let me go for this job because it can give me allowance to do this and that, or that value. Most of them, they put the talent aside and they just now measure on maybe what they have trained on. What can you advise those youths to do, and how do they go about? Because many are so unfulfilled even at their place of work. They don't have that passion. They are working as a duty. It's not pleasure anymore.
Ruth, I'll tell you, and please let us go back to what I said. Qualification and papers are not a strength. They are not. They are not your strength. Your strength is your skill and what you are good at, what you enjoy, what you deliver. And I'll give you an example in Kenya industry. Churchill.
Yeah.
When you talk about Churchill, what comes in your mind?
Comedy.
Comedy. Which
Yeah.
which kind of qualification do you need to succeed in comedy?
Seriously, I don't know.
Yes. So basically, papers papers are good. They are necessary, but they are not your strength. Your strength is what you are good at. And last time I asked you to write your name using one of your hands, and try to write your name using the other hand. You will realize one hand you are able to write very, very nicely and with ease. By the other hand, you struggle. Even if I gave you 1 year to practice to perfect that, you will waste a lot of time doing that. So you would rather focus on the right hand that you are able, so that you deliver almost perfect handwriting. So in our life, we are met with both weaknesses and strength. If you focus on your weakness, you can never succeed. If you take fish to ride or to climb a tree, it will always believe that it is the most stupid thing to exist on earth. But if you take a monkey to climb the tree, it will enjoy, because that is what it does. That is where its strength. But if you take the same monkey in water to swim, it will have rough time. But the fish will be at home. It will be enjoying. So you will be better if you focus on your strength, because that is where you will thrive most. And when you talk about strength, going to school and having first class or having high qualification, it doesn't count. Where I work, we have all people from, when our company was starting, people were being employed with a Form 4 certificate, and you get, they have improved, they have skills. Even if you come here with a PhD, you will not do a job better than them. What people want is the result, is to do the job, do something and produce the result, not the papers. When I went for we normally call it teaching practice. I did it in Naivasha. When I finished, and one of the private schools called the Enhanda, I got their teachers with certificates while I was having a degree, And when I saw the payroll, after I had spent there around 1 month, I saw the payroll. I was almost the least paid. I went to the director and I asked him, how comes I'm the highest qualified here and I'm being paid almost the lowest? He just laughed and he said, okay, sit here. Do you know what this teacher do? Yes. We are here to teach. Of course, no. You, when you finish here work, you go home. These guys are the one who handle here accommodation issues. He knows this student by name. And if there is a trouble, he actually knows who do. Do you know any student here? No. Okay. In short, what the administrator want is a teacher who can be able to understand, control the school, and someone who can mentor the children and guide them and solve the problems as they arise. Me, I was only equipped with a certificate, yet I cannot do those things. So what made this guy to be paid more is not the papers. If you look at the Nairobi governor during last election, we had people with PhD, we had people with high experience, but you narrow down now, who do people want? What do people want? They want people who can go to their level. They want people who can be able to, not papers. So currently the world do not want people with high qualification. They don't want papers. They want people who can be able to deliver, who have skills, who will use their strength to do the work and enjoy what they do. So it's very, very important to distinguish between the two. And that is where now you can be able to find your purpose.
Wow, I wish all the youth could hear this. Yeah, they should do something. They should do something that they are passionate at and they have strength in. Wow. Okay. How do you balance how do you balance between talent, work, and family?
That's a very good question. It has been really, really tough, I say. And it requires a lot of discipline to ensure that you strike a balance, because all of them are quite important. One thing that you first have to start with is disclosure. Okay. First of all, you have to start with yourself. What you want to accomplish within this year. I normally prepare my calendar in January of the things that I am supposed to accomplish at the end of the year. The assignments that I have internationally, which month, which date, and so on. Once I complete the duties I have internationally, and especially that involves the federation, then I now come to important dates for the family. And this is where the children are going to school, or they will be at home, or there is a special date for my children, like a birthday. Like now, Abikali has a birthday. I hate to leave Nairobi to come and ensure that I'm there for my daughter. You have to have those things in your calendar fixed. Then after you have finished that, now you disclose it to people close to you. Your boss have to know that you have this role, and these dates you will not be available at work. So when they are budgeting, they are able to, adjust and make plans accordingly to your schedule. Even my leave days, I arrange in such a way that they coincide with those particular activities. And of course, my dear wife, we normally discuss in advance. I tell him, okay, I know this will be a holiday. I need to be here, but I will not manage because of this activity that we have. And she has been very understanding and source of strength. Sometime when even balancing act becomes very tough, she has been very understanding. So it's all about discussing and being very open and striking a balance between the three. There is always time. When you say there is no time, it means you are not a good budgeter. But always we have 24 hours. We normally have 24 hours in a day and 366 days. If you budget very well, you will always get the results. But you must involve the people that are affected by those programs. Yeah.
Okay. Let me maybe just ask it or calm down a little bit. Maybe
Yes.
you just tell us how you illustrate to us how busy your day can be. What do you do? What are the things you do on a busy day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I give you a preview of last week?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, a busy week, a busy day and a busy week for you. Mm.
Sometimes it can be
And
too busy.
and you start from the time you wake up and the time you go to sleep. Yani, what time do you wake up and what time do you go to sleep? Literally,
Yeah, I normally
like that.
I normally wake up at 5:30. That's when my day starts. And of course, I don't have a modern gym, but at least I can be able to jump just to spice up my muscle and so on. Um, and once the day starts, at my work, we normally arrive very early. And I have, first of all, to plan the tasks that I am supposed to. We normally have those priority tasks. So there are several reports that I generate to ensure that almost 300 people are able to access that report by 8 when they come to office. That's why I have to
So
be there.
at what
Yes,
time? At what time do
7,
you reach your office?
7,
Uh-huh.
7. Yes. On
Mm-hmm.
the way, and I mostly I'm relied on distribution of the reports. So I pull them from somewhere, then I'm able to distribute it to people who consume them. So when they come in at 8, they will find those reports in their emails. Later on, also because of my role, I involve myself in a lot of meetings. So I have again to schedule the meetings so that they don't clash, to ensure that they balance. Sometimes those activities come and clash with my work. For example, if we have also at national level, at the ministry, we are called upon for a meeting for sports presidents. I have to also discuss with my boss to ensure that I get space to attend. Like this weekend, from Thursday, we are supposed to have federation president training from Thursday to Saturday. So I have to discuss with my boss to ensure that I attend that particular item. And when I come back, I have to ensure that I catch up. I spend more time. I come early and leave a little bit late to ensure that I also balance what I was supposed to have delivered for the 2 days I'm away. So basically, I juggle between that. You can imagine my family also is outside Nairobi. So I have also to travel weekends to meet the family, to be there for my children, because they are very, very important. So like now, last week, maybe just to give you a snap check, last week it was very busy. Apart from work, I had my colleagues who had lost their family. One had lost the mother. Another is a chess player who also lost their life. So you can imagine on Saturday, I didn't go to work. I had to go for their home in Krinyaka and came back to Thika. I left there at around 6. Then in the morning, on Sunday, I had to travel to Bungoma to, as I said, my daughter is having a birthday. It's supposed to be today, but I pushed it tomorrow just to be there. And immediately I finish, I have to again travel back to Nairobi for the training, for President's training, which ends on Sunday, and still be in the office in the morning. So that's how busy it can get. But I'm able to balance among the two. And of course, during the night, we have a lot of meetings at continental level. My president comes from Zambia, so we normally discuss what plans do we have for Africa, which project that we have to run. So I have again to create time to discuss that. And having also traveled widely, I also recognize that I need also to learn more languages. So I also take French lessons every Monday and Friday. And all the weekend, from 8, you can't get me.
You do online?
Yes, online. Yeah.
Wow. Who is your French teacher? I want to be one.
I can link you. He's a very good teacher. And I also enjoy the lessons.
Is he a Kenyan?
Yes, he is called Jackson. He's a teacher in one of these international schools. And due to COVID, they have also been very creative to ensure that they also support people who want to learn online. So I have been a beneficiary.
Okay, that is so good. Yeah. So and now what happens if have you ever reached in a place you lose the balance between the three? You lost the balance between the three, and how did you bring the balance back?
I can tell you before COVID, most of our tournaments happened during the holidays. So I think my family suffered a lot on that, because you get maybe Easter is usually the best time for the family, and I'm in Mombasa for Kenya Open. I'm in Nairobi for Kenya Open, which we normally hold on those dates. You come in October, Mashujaa Day, I'm in Mombasa for sports. Sometimes you get, I'm supposed to be with the family in December, Christmas, I'm out of the country, because most of the event outside the country happen during Christmas Day or even the closing the year. So sometimes it becomes impossible to strike the balance. And even work, I also introduced chess as part of it. So you get, one of the director that looks at branding. He wants us to do very well and go out and, win the trophy. But my immediate supervisor, he have targets. So you have, again, also to, you have to go slow. Some of the activities you have to reduce. So you get some time, you have now to handle the two processes. One who is looking at the branding, another one who is looking at the targets. So it becomes very hard, and you have to try and strike a balance. So it's not easy, but having also developed leadership skills, you are able to negotiate and build consensus so that neither of the two feel offended when the balance is impossible to achieve. Yeah.
And do you mean you have never incurred office politics?
A lot. Politics is
You
there
have
a lot.
never incurred office politics where somebody is like they feel you are just too much, you are favored, you are always out, you are not doing this, or they are, such things. How do you handle that?
Ruth, one thing that I'll tell you is developing resilience and strong mindset. When you believe in when you listen, you will select what you want to hear. Even when I don't know whether you have walked on the street and there are some things you ask, do you see this? And you say, no, I didn't see. What clothes was he wearing? You didn't see, but the person passed before you. So you have to select what to hear. If it is not constructive, if it's not useful to you, you have to train your mind not to focus on it. These things, you will get people who will be negative energy, who will be source of negative energy. And if you put your energy to that, you lose focus. Those people exist every day, but they have never played a role to me because it is me who drive my life and direct it the way I want. If you are the person I'm supposed to convince, as long as I have convinced you, and the other person have no role to play in that decision, then I'm contented with that, irrespective of what you comment. So that mindset helps you to be very resilient. Even if people are saying very negative about you, you have a positive view of yourself. And you always focus on the positive, not the negative.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that
And
is
once
so.
they realize that whatever they say, it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't have an impact on you, you even look like you have not hurt anything. You are even the person to buy them lunch when you have an opportunity. It just fades. And that positive energy becomes very important with all the tasks that you do. Yes.
Wow. What motivates you? What keeps you going?
My goal. I have very, very, very specific goals. And these goals, sometimes you have to be flexible. For example, me, I told you my target at that 6, I was supposed to have a PhD. It doesn't mean that I gave up. At 32, I didn't achieve my master's at 32. I achieved it at 33 years. So that doesn't make me a failure. But I had to revise one of the goals to ensure that that at least I align with the circumstances or the other goals that are coming along the way. And I said, okay, what will the usefulness of me getting the PhD with the circumstance I'm in? Will I be better off to focus on what I'm doing or to pursue the PhD that will not find immediate use or will not help me even achieve more with my strength? So I shelved the idea of the PhD because I revised my goals. And I said, this is what I have to. Now, what motivates me is what I want to achieve with the timelines that I mentioned. There are several things that I have as a target. Number one, I mentioned the family is very critical to me. I have already a projection. If my daughter is now turning 9, and he is in stage 4, so it means in the next 8 years, I must be able to pay school fees at the university level. So what do I have to do to ensure that I will be in a position to pay that school fees? That means I have to have a financial plan for them. The same thing as a family, when the children are coming, you must have some basic items in place. For example, shelter. I must have a home for them, and of course, ensure that they are comfortable and so on. And for you to achieve this, you have to sacrifice and work hard and be very focused. Yeah. When one is achieved, it challenges you to work even more hard so that you are able to achieve the next goal. And of course, when you have those in mind, you will always have some targets that you have to achieve at a certain timelines. And one of the targets is to ensure that by the time they are at that age of joining university, you are able to raise enough cash, you have built enough cash flows, and so on. The other thing that is very critical is how many lives are you able to touch? If I have said that personally I want to touch some lives, I want to be a story in someone's life, then you also have to work hard to ensure that you live up to that. And sometimes you do it because you know what you are doing is going to help someone, is going to change the life of someone somewhere. So you will always have a motivation to work out. For example, at a national level, when we are coming with goals, we say we have to touch the lives of the players. And one of the way we touch it is to ensure that we have a very strong prize fund. Last year, we ensured that the winner drives away with a car. So how do you achieve that? That will motivate me. If there is a forum outside the country where I will get funding, I will go. If it means that I have to go to see a sponsor, I'll have to do that, because my goal is to ensure that this prize fund is delivered, and once it is delivered, it will transform a life of a chess player, and it becomes very critical. Yeah. So to me, those are the two that drives me and gives me a lot of energy to wake up every morning and ensure that I deliver what I'm supposed to.
Awesome. How does your personality affect your passion and talent? Maybe you tell us your personality first.
Well, those are the things sometimes we don't discuss so much, but I'm very much an introvert.
Really?
Yes. Most of the things I may not tell you, but that doesn't mean that I don't talk a lot. When I have something, I'll always speak my mind. As I have also said, I'm very, very, I have a very strong ego, and it has costed me quite a number of things. I remember in 2018, when we were having an event, and the hotel, one of the hotel manager talked to me very negatively, and I said, this guy doesn't really take me serious. He doesn't know how important I am and what I'm capable of. So because of that small ego, I did something very stupid.
What did you do?
I moved the team outside the hotel. And you know, when you are moving people, when you are moving people at around 6, it means you have to pay that cost. And because of that ego, I actually paid. I actually paid for that night, and I didn't sleep. The following day, I asked myself, was it really the wisest thing I did? Or it was a rush and a stupid thing that I would have done better. And basically, when I assessed back, I just noticed it's just an ego that I need to work on and at least improve on it. Yes. So mostly, if I can be able to work on that, I think it's one of the biggest things, and it makes me sometimes make a very rash decision, which sometimes I get to regret. And just compliment that, I have always made it known to my colleagues, and they are able to help me and put breaks where they feel I'm getting out of hand or the ego is taking over and push me to distraction. So it is something like that.
How do you involve your friend? Do you tell them when you see me acting this way, please tap tap my back and remind me I'm going out of the yeah?
The worst thing that many people make is sharing. When you share, and in a good way, friends whom you trust, you will get help, and it can really help you to overcome something that would have actually destroyed you. You know, the ego gives you a very false pride. And that pride, you know, people say pride comes before a fall. And you make a rash decision that sometimes you live to regret. And when your colleagues are able to detect that, I trusted a colleague who knows, they are able to help you control it. I have my friend who is called Gilbert. We just cool down and give a story and cool down the temperature, and sometimes take me away from the scene and just have a word. You can just excuse ourselves and say, let me just have a word with you. And he's able to cool me down and have a better conversation later. So when you share these things, sometimes your friends will help you to overcome. But having also known it myself, that is a weakness, itself is a very, very big step, because I'm able also to pinch myself when I'm crossing the right line. Yeah.
I'm really learning a lot from you. Thank you for sharing this. I'm also learning because I'm also running it, in my passion, and
Yes.
the personality sometimes it do affect our passion. How was your background? How was your background, and does it affect your current life?
Yes, it does. Psychologists say that the experiences that you had at childhood, especially the age between 5 years and 12 years, it has a lot of impact on who you are, the self-esteem, and the personality that you develop. I share the same because during During my childhood, I think there was a little bit of a malfunction between my father and my mom, and I played a very critical role in supporting my siblings when those things were happening. And today, I normally say that opportunity to take responsibility played a very big role to develop my leadership skills to be who I am today. Also, in that time, I was very shy, and I couldn't talk so much. It took time for me to develop a very good speech. I couldn't talk before people. I couldn't even have a good voice. You can hear even my voice nowadays. It's improving. But if most people during that time, they couldn't hear what I'm saying. My words could not come out. They drowned somewhere because of the fear and the environment I was brought in. I was never given an opportunity to, because the confidence that you develop comes from 3 areas. Number 1 is how you look yourself, how you view yourself before people, and the appearance. When you are wearing tattered clothes and things that are not appealing, you don't have that confidence, and that's who I was during those times. I had also guys who really abused me. I used to look up to Anmo, and we had some guys who could pick me up, and it really affected me. It's only recent that I came to reflect about it. And I really developed a lot of fear. When I'm taking cows to cattle to water points, which is usually a mainstream is called Namnyeri and another one River Nzoia, those guys could wait for me and beat me up properly. And it created a lot of fear. And it affected me for some time. But I'm happy that at least with time I overcome. So having grown that particular area, when I went to high school, I realized I need help, and I was so close to teachers. And that closeness, I was lucky enough, the person I was interacting with had just completed masters in psychology. And I was a specimen, to test his knowledge and, try to see how he can be able to utilize that knowledge to impact someone. I am the first beneficiary of that knowledge. He really fueled me. While my colleagues were really busy with girls and these stupid things people do when they are adolescents or past adolescents, he was able to guide me and fueled my confidence, and make me who I am. I think I gained a lot from them, and they are the ones who have made me who I am. And when I went to university and all other levels, it is the confidence that I had built that made me possible. And this is what I have always learned. When you want to be someone better, to be like the person you see, you have to interact with those people to know what they do and how they achieve it. You cannot interact with your equals or lesser and assume to be better. So I think that was the biggest advantage that I had, that have always helped me to overcome so many obstacles that without that experience I would have not made it.
Wow.
Yes.
That is so interesting. Okay, I want to ask you a final question, but I want you extend it because this is what you really wanted to talk about. And you talked about redefining your purpose or something. So I just want to give you like 10 minutes. You talk about how you discovered your purpose and how someone can redefine or can find it. Just take it away.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
A purpose is actually a very wide subject that sometimes you can't exhaust it within this period that you are saying of 10 minutes, because we have several things that you have to first of all help someone understand, um, so that they are able to connect. It is very hard to tell someone a purpose, or to tell to define to clearly define that this is my purpose, because it is something that is embodied in someone, and it cannot be described. If today you came to me and perhaps, or you went to someone to tell you a purpose, he will not be able to tell you, because it is very difficult to define it in words. As I said before, I had to ask myself a lot of questions. First of all, why was I born? Why was I the firstborn, not the lastborn, not the middleborn? Yeah, why? Why is it possible that I can be able to do certain things and I'm not able to do certain things? So it means the way I'm wired, there is at least something that makes me better to be used on a specific item. And being a chess player, just maybe to explain how chess is related to this. When you are playing chess, we normally have the start, which we call the opening. We have the middle, and we have the end game. The end game is to capture the king. Just figure out like two empires are fighting, okay? Or let me, for example, use the country for you to maybe to conceptualize well. If we have Kenya and Uganda fighting, once you capture Uhuru, then Uganda have won. If Uganda can be able to capture Uhuru, then Kenya will be no more, okay? Because the president is the symbol of the nation. If Kenya captures Uganda's president, Yoweri Museveni, then they have won. That's how chess is played. You strive to capture the king. So that means the king can be captured at any point. If, for example, the king walks alone and goes out in the morning, it will be captured very easily. But if it hides behind the others and they have a very strong wall protecting the king, the enemy will take a lot of time to penetrate and capture the king. So the game will take long. So usually, before a game starts, you must know that the end game is to do what? To capture the king. So you must have three things in mind. Number one is to protect yourself, ensure that your king is not captured. Because if you are captured, even if you capture the other one is useless, you will not have time. So the purpose of that game is to capture the king and ensure that yours is not captured. The second thing is you must have a strategy. A strategy is a plan on how you will start. For example, if we talk about a war, you must station some people in this corner. You station another one here. You station another one here, and you remove this one. You ensure that your enemy does not capture this. That is a strategy, and sometimes a strategy may be just you suffocate people. You know, you have read in war where people just protect their place. People wanakaa ndani mpaka wanakufa na njaa. They can't come out and get food. That is how, for example, it has worked in Somalia during that war. So it's a strategy. So it's a long-term thing to ensure that you achieve your goal. Then the things you do are now tactics. Until that time you hide, you shoot, then you hide. Those are tactics. So the tactics mainly helps you to move close to the goal, but small at a small pace. If, for example, your goal is to go to Mombasa, the strategy is you have to move from here to Mombasa either by air or by bus or by a motorcycle. That will be your strategy. Now, if it is air, then we have some small steps that you'll have to. If you have to go by air, the plane will not come for you here at your house. You have to use the motorcycle to go to the airport, or someone can drop you. Then from the airport, you will take the plane. You will still land at the airport. You must find a way to. Those are the tactics. The entire strategy, if you are using the airplane, the strategies will be very different from when you are using a pass. I don't know whether I'm making sense, but that comparison will help you to understand. Yes. So the same way, for you to be impactful, you must have a plan for yourself and say that this is where I want to move. I'm at point A and I want to be point B, without looking at the obstacles. And there is usually something that comes with something that comes up when you have a plan. Even if you will fail, but you will fall very close to where you want to be. So first of all, you must have a plan on how you want to reach there. So as an individual, you must have a purpose is to try. For example, my purpose, as I have said, is just to touch the lives. And the lives we are talking about, it is a life of my people, the life of my family, and the life of people who I come across or who we interact at different stages of life. And for you to do that, you must have some now small goals or the strategy that you have to develop. And one of it is using sport. I have given you an example of sport. I'm not just there to be an administrator, but I normally look at what is the impact I'm creating to you. Number one, I have to be a good role model. And I can tell you there is a lot of people who look up to me as an example. They'll come to me to seek advice. And sometimes I connect them to my network that at least I'm able to help. And more so, how do I help them that utilize the talent that they have to get the benefit? As I have said before, there is no federation that has ever given a car. The motivation was not to make the person happy, but to ensure that that one person I have touched, he will remember that it was only chance that he was able to get that. And some of them, if we can use it, for example, for Uber or something like that, I have transformed a life. And it is not just that, because during that time, we normally have like 20 people benefiting from that. So personally, I have to work very hard to ensure that that I am able to achieve that. The second thing, as a transformation, is I came from a very, very difficult background where we only understood the language of scarcity. okay? And being the firstborn, as I said, you have to evaluate. Why are you, for example, why was I a firstborn, not the last? Why was I not at the middle, but I'm the firstborn? It means I have a purpose that I have to live. I have a cause that I have to live. And in my view, I was meant to create a path for my siblings, work with them, and help them at least be somewhere. And I have to understand that role very clearly, so that whatever action I am doing, they must be in tandem of that. And having come also from the same background, transformation journey is not just transforming people from outside. I have to transform from in. There are so many things I have done at family level. I may not share on this forum, but myself, I define that as one of my purpose. And that does not end there. I have to start also with my children. And always when I sleep, I think about them, whether I'm a good father, what I can do to be a good father, and whether I'll help them to live for a cause, to lead a life of impact that I always try to or aspire to do. So it's very, very important to define yourself. Where do you want to go before you start from there? And for example, at family level, I have to myself to know where I started, where do I want to be? I gave you an example. I had to make a decision whether if I am having a family, which kind of family I have to have. And I look at it in 50 years back, 50 years, when I'm 50 years, I project back, how do I want to be? Then I work backwards. The same way I said, when you talk about chess, is a checkmate. So you start with a checkmate. You want to checkmate, then you work backwards with a strategy. How do you want to arrive there? So the same way, I have to look at it myself 50 years. Yes, you can it's God who gives a life, but at least you must have a plan. In 50 years, how do I want to look like? What will I want have achieved? At 50 years, I'd want to have more than 100 people saying that, Wanjala, why it not you? I'll not be here. That would be my joy. I'll want to look at the family and look at my kids and say, wow, I think I did my best, and my kids have lived to be people I want to see. I'll want to see a life where I can be able to support myself. You have financial freedom. I have seen so many people, you have grown, and then you reach at a time where you are not able to support yourself. It's very dangerous to rely on other people to support when you are at old age. So again, my goal will be, how do I build assets and this one actually came, it's almost several months old. I had not given it a serious thought, but since February, it has been bothering me. How do I build myself that when at 50 years or at 45 years, I have assets that can be able to generate income equivalent to what I'm earning in terms of salary, so that I don't feel the burden that comes with that age. So once you have these goals, you now work backwards. And you will, whatever task that you will do, it will be very smooth because you already have a predetermined middle game. And now that is where the tactics comes in. The small things that you do to ensure that you are moving towards that. And some of them, as you have seen, I really work very hard in my network to ensure that whatever opportunity I get, I'm able to impact someone's life. I always try to see how I can balance my life and my children, just to be there, because I know it's important. I know I have not done very well in this department, but having this realization alone, it is something that I'll be working so hard to. And of course, work-wise now, for me to build the asset, I have to look at my strength. My strength is in sports, as I have said. It is in leadership. So the question is, how do I use this to build myself? And that means I have to choose between the two things. Number one is to work my way to corporate level so that I'm at a level where I can maximally use my leadership skills to help an institution grow, or I join politics where I can be able to transform the life. Seriously, where I can purely exercise my strength. It's very important, by the way, Ruth. Where I can purely focus on my leadership. That is where my strength is. So
Yeah.
there are no.
No, I'm just trying to imagine you being a politician. Oh my God. But it is possible. It is possible. We will be right behind you.
So if I'm not in politics, I'll be a CEO of a company. If you have a good company that you want a CEO, there is a CEO here. I want to use my leadership so that I can empower myself and empower people. So,
Oh my
so
goodness.
you
That's
can,
so powerful.
yes. So that is
Okay,
my
let
journey,
me just let
and
me
it will
just ask
come to pass.
in Jesus' name. Let me just
Yes.
ask you this question. How does talent and passion discovery transformed your life or transforms your life? I don't know. That English is not good. But I hope you have understood. How did you, when you discovered now your talent,
Yes.
as a leader, you are a leader and a sportsman. How has that
Yes.
transformed your life?
Uh, Basically, I'm happier because I have seen people who are very sad with what they do. The most basic thing for a human life is to be happy. So I'm very happy with what I do. The little joy I get from little achievement I get is what gives me energy to move in daily. Number two, um, I have been able to achieve more in sports than anywhere else. And that basically means there are some things in life I have never achieved if I didn't focus on that area. I give you an example. For example, people I have met, places I have traveled, things that I have benefited from. I would have never done that if I was not able to do that. I was not able to utilize and focus on my area of strength, my passion. And one of the things that I did is when I got an employment, for example, at where I'm working now, I realized I could introduce chess as one of the sports that compete, because by then it wasn't there. And at the end, what happened? When people see me, they see chess. When people see me, they see the president. So it is. I'm associated in that particular area because they have seen the institution get a lot of publicity from the sport. The first time my company joined the National League, they won the National League. And they were all over in the news. So everyone wanted to know, who is this Wanjala? They have won the league. Then they call me, they come to my department, they hear, okay, I'm in Sudan, I'm in Egypt. They want to know, who is this guy? And because of that, there are also some favors that comes with it. The way people look at you, they believe they need to give you more, they need to entrust you with more because you have been succeeded here. And when there is something, they feel they need your opinion. So when you are shining in your area of strength, then more things are added to you, and people believe in you more. People are able to trust you more because you are excelling, and it is simply because you are in your area of strength. When you see people buying cars, exchanging this, it is because it is not because they are lack, but they are focusing, they are thriving in their area of strength. So sometimes it's very dangerous to compare yourself, yet you are not in your area of strength. You are struggling, you are in an area where you are weak, where you are not maximizing your potential, yet you want to compare yourself with another person. Never try that, because some people are doing that because it is their strength. If we look at the marathons, people who run, you can never compare with them. Someone goes and win 5 billion and comes and put a school, put a hospital. You cannot compare with that person, and you want to do the same thing. They are doing that simply because they are in their area of strength. They are in their area where they thrive better, where they enjoy. The passion is there, and money follow them very, very much later. Yes.
Wow, I'm challenged that when people see you, they don't see your master's degree, they don't see
They
your
don't
position in
ever.
the company, they see chess.
Yes. And that is my
I wish
strength.
I wish I could also be identified by one thing. When people see me, they
In
just see that, they
business,
don't see.
in business, we call it branding. And I asked you the same question in this session. If I asked you about Kingangi, Churchill, you told me it's comedy. The same way, yes, you will just see someone cracking jokes and doing this kind of things. If I asked you Kipchoge Keino, how do you know Kipchoge Keino? You will tell
Yeah,
me
marathon.
he's a runner. That kind of branding,
Yeah.
is the one that gives you mileage. It is not the masters. It's not, um, someone called DJ Mo.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's a DJ.
A DJ. Do you know how many papers he holds? Which university he went?
No,
Never.
no, no. I have
People
no
will never
idea.
define People will never define you with the papers. They will define you with what you are good at. And they will pay you for that. DJ Mo, if he comes to your show, if he comes to grace your occasion, you pay handsomely. You pay a lot of money. And that is what makes him thrive. Right now, the whole world is dancing about Jerusalem. Do you know who sang Jerusalem?
I don't know one guy from I don't
It was
remember his name.
someone's idea. It is someone's idea, and he's thriving on it. That brand will forever remain for that particular guy who sang the song. So basically, uh, you will thrive more if you focus on your strength and develop a brand, and it's the brand that will sell you the brand that will give you money, the brand that will make people pay you. Otherwise, if you compete with people where you are weak, you are likely not to succeed.
Not to succeed.
Yeah.
And then finally, how can parents help and support their children's discover and pursue? Hey, hii kizungu niliharibu hapo. And pursue passion and talent.
Passion and
Let me
talent.
just correct it. Yeah, let me correct it as your answer. Hope you have gotten the question.
Yes, I got you.
Yeah.
I can't say much about it because I also am a young parent. I'm also learning, and we learn by doing. We make, personally as a parent, I make a lot of mistakes, but I don't give up. But having also been a child, being brought up by a parent, I'm sure I have something I can say about what a parent can be able to help the children. Now, first of all, you have to be very observant to the kid, what he likes, and you are able to see it at very early age. If you can be lucky enough to identify what the kid is very good at, you can start developing that talent as early as 6 years. And if that child focuses on that talent from 6 years, he will be an expert at a very early age. I can give you examples of people I have observed. You know Lupita Nyong'o? You know how old he started acting?
I don't remember.
Yeah, he started very early, and you have seen he have graduated from a very simple actor to be the best. And if you want to know how the parents invested, is you have just to follow the kind of programs they enrolled that young girl, and even the environment that they cultivated to ensure that Lupita was exposed to the best. You will realize that a parent can play a very big role in helping. We have quite many examples I can give where children start very early and invest that and becomes a very big thing. I think another example that I have seen that demonstrated that also discovering your talent early has a very big impact is a Japanese cook. He's called Chiro Ono. Maybe you can check later. Chiro Ono, he is currently 95 years. He started cooking. He realized he's a very good cook at the age of 6. And during that time, he couldn't afford to go to the best school. So when he is chased away from the school, he could go to a restaurant and ask to help, to volunteer to cook, because it was his passion. And guess what? By the age of 15, he was the best cook for sushi. Sushi is a kind of soup that is made from fish that is very famous in China, and currently now is a global food. If you go to major hotels, you can easily get that kind of soup. And during that age, he was able to perfect the skills, and by the age of 18, he was the best producer of sushi soup in China, in Japan. And as we speak right now, he have won very many awards, and he have focused on those skills to a level where now it became a global. He became a global admirer. Now, when you have grown yourself to become a brand, the money now comes in. Money follows you. He is passionate. If you look at his video, you can just check. There are several places he has been interviewed, and he doesn't do. When you are driving in your area, you doesn't need to struggle a lot. His restaurant have only 10 seats. Yeah, but the cost, but the money he makes is more than a 5-star hotel that has more than 200 rooms, and because of the passion and people have heard about him, they have trusted him. People are able to pay a high price just to have a taste of the best cook in the world can be able to produce. Why was he able to achieve that? Because he worked on his skills from very early age. He was able to identify that at very early age that he could become a good cook. And I know if a parent wanted the child to be a doctor, will feel very offended when the child say, "I want to be a cook." I have seen parents who defines what their children do and dictate what they do without considering the passion of the child. In my opinion, the best thing is to try and observe the children and try to support them where you think they can be able to. And for you to do that, first of all, you have to expose them. Take them out, give them a few, create the environment where they can be able to try several things, and you can be able to see something standing out very, very in the early age. I've also seen scientists who is identified very early. The kid just gets keen eye, is doing some funny things very early age. You need to identify this it early so that you nurture it, so that the kid can benefit more in the area that he is very good at. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, we can keep going and going and going, and it is getting better, but I wish we stop here. I know I can ask you a lot of questions, but I just want you to give your parting shot as we end this show.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth, and I want to thank you for the opportunity. This is the first time I'm giving my story. Many people may have not known a lot of things about me, and my appeal to you is to reflect about your strength, what you are good at. Forget about your weakness. They will not take you anywhere. They can only limit you. But sometimes the weakness is in the mind. So try to reflect about your strength and see what you can be able to do with it and make people pay you and create a brand for yourself, a brand that will never die. People will identify you with, so that when you leave this world, you have a mark that people remember. And of course, always put your family before everything to ensure that you give them the best that you can be able to raise. Otherwise, thank you very much, Ruth. It was a very great honor to appear in your session.
Wow. Yeah. So viewers, you have heard it for yourself. I have just given Bernard the whole time. I wanted him to empty himself before you. And, we have measured in his area of strength. He has talked about his area of strength. So we were personally talking about talent, passion, and how you can benefit from that, because he is a real testimony for passion. Somebody who his gift has made a room for him before kings, as Proverbs 22 says. So I want to thank you all for joining me and for just having this conversation. Please, if you're watching a replay or you'll be watching whatever. If you have any question that you want to ask Mr. Bernard, please put it in our comment box below, and we'll be so much excited to answer that, because Bernard is one of our panelists in the youth talk show. And he's always there every Saturday just to answer your questions. So please, he will be able even to ask if you ask him a personal question. And by the way, Bernard, you haven't shown us chess. How does chess look like? Maybe we are just talking about some people they're wondering chess. What is chess? And you know, the way you said, most people always confuse chess and draft, you know.
No, just unfortunately, I didn't have my board here. I'll have demonstrated, but it's just a game with 32 pieces. And the 2 pieces have different representation. We have a king, a queen. You know, in an empire, we normally have those characters. Then we have soldiers that take care of these 2. Now, every empire has a queen and a king. Then we have the rook. The rook takes care of, is like, fortress that protects the king. We have a horse where people used to swiftly run here and there, and a bishop. You know, they are also, a bishop is always a religious. We only move in a certain direction.
Like, seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
And
Okay.
we have a pawn. A pawn is the smallest ranked soldier on the chessboard. So all these chessmen, their work is just to protect the king, and they are willing to sacrifice their life to ensure that the king survives. If, for example, a plate comes, they can stand on the way so that they can be killed, but the king survives. Even the queen can sacrifice its life to ensure that the queen survives. So basically, it has a lot of lessons. Perhaps maybe one of the fine days I can teach the viewers how chess is played and the
By
great
the
lessons
way,
that we have.
yeah, I think I'll give you a chance in our youth talk show on Saturday, so that you can
Yes.
illustrate to us what is this all about, because according to me, I think it is a very interesting game.
But
Just the way you have explained.
more important is the life application about the game, because usually it has a lot of lessons. Like now, a pawn, I have just said a pawn is the smallest. Is the smallest and weakest chessman or the protector. But the same piece, it can be promoted to be a queen. Yes, it can be promoted to be the biggest piece on the chessboard. That tells you that whenever today you may be small, but you can be supported to become big, because this pawn has to be escorted by this other chessman to go to the other side to get the power to become a big piece. So what it simply means in life is that today you can be small, but if you are willing to do something and work with other people, you can be a big person in future. Simply that.
Wow.
So we have a lot of lessons that we can derive from that, and make something out of it. Yeah.
Wow, I think you will give us that illustration of that game. I really want our viewers to have a glance of it and also learn the lessons. You know, by the way, I didn't know it has all these things.
Yeah.
But the way you are explaining it, I'm really getting interested also just to learn more. So thank you so much, Mr. Bernard, for coming to the show tonight and just accepting to share your personal life and experiences and also passions with us. I know somebody somewhere will benefit from this story. It doesn't matter how long, but I know it will reach to the people that it was meant to reach and to encourage them to pursue their passion, to pursue their purpose, and just fulfill destiny. So God bless you so much, and God bless you, and God bless your family, and may He increase you and give you your heart desire in Jesus' name. Yes, viewers, you have heard that, and I'm so excited to have Mr. Benard just talking to us about his personal life and just sharing what he had for us. Please, if you are joining us, just go back and listen to his story. He has a very interesting personal testimony that can move and can change your perception as an individual, and just also help you pursue your passion in Jesus' name. So God bless you. Let's meet on Saturday. Come meet him on Saturday. He's always on our youth panel, youth talk show panelist panel, and the youth talk show is always on Saturday at 8 p.m. Same platform, same time, and same venue. So welcome, and I'll be so much excited to have you. So have a good night, a good time, and a good moment ahead, and may God bless you and increase you in Jesus' name.